Kaylee? Say hello to the internet, Kaylee. Say hello to the internet. Look over here. Say hi to Kaylee, internet. Wave this paw. Ooh. Hi. I don't think Kaylee was too pleased with that intro, but she's cute and people are requesting more cute dog shenanigans. Anyways, welcome to episode 3 of Aggathon's Rage Bar, the show where you ask me questions and I drink delicious beverages. Unfortunately, tonight there's a slight problem. The reason this episode is late is because I have been sick with strep for the last 3 days. It's kind of sucked. But I'm on fun drugs now, so things are getting better. Still can't really drink, though, is the problem. So, there's going to be 2 drinks tonight. The first is what I would have been drinking if I wasn't sick, maybe what I'll drink later this weekend, and what I'm drinking because I'm sick. So, the first is Schleifele's Pumpkin Ale. Fall's coming around, winter is coming, and you're going to see a lot of pumpkin ale imitations. None of them are going to be as good as Schleifele's Pumpkin Ale. This is a delicious beer. If you can find some, get some. Schleifele is brewed in St. Louis. So if you're near the St. Louis area in the Midwest, you'll probably be able to find some. It's delicious stuff. Now what I'm drinking instead of alcohol, since I'm sick, is Earl Grey tea. It's the tea of legendary captains and people who are sick and need to feel better. A couple other announcements. I'm going to start doing a tank spot donor flex raid that we're organizing in our donor forums. There's donor forums? Yes, there are. If you sign up to be a Zan Premium member, there's donor forums where there's also a fitness section where 3 of us have lost a combined total of like 260 pounds or something. I've only lost 40, which is not nearly as good as Ion or Tara, but they've each lost like 100 pounds each. It's ridiculous. But, you know, I'm on the right path, eating a lot better. Still way less than I did. So, anyways, but I'm going to start doing a flex raid. That'll probably happen on Sundays at 8 p.m. and I'll probably start streaming it. Also, I figured out what the big problem was in the first episode with the camera shaking. It's because this desk sucks. So I have another much better desk back there. You can't really see it. Anyways, it's like a solid wood desk, so I may do some rearranging so that I can use that desk in future episodes. But yeah, like, check this out. I'm just gonna put my foot on the ground. Yeah, that shook the camera a little bit. You gonna tap the table? Yeah, shook it a little bit. So I'm gonna try as much as possible. Like, I sometimes fidget with my feet and hands and stuff. So I'm gonna try to be prim and proper and not hurt too much stuff. But that's why it's shaking. I promise I'll try to fix it. I also still haven't done an intro. I'll do that next week. I just haven't had time. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on with our first question, which is, are hardcore raiders slowly dying off? From Not. I probably butchered how you pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Are hardcore raiders slowly dying off? Dying probably isn't a good word. Are they becoming fewer in numbers? And if that's your definition of dying, then yes, probably. But I think that's more of a symptom of just the game getting older. I mean, no matter how good your game is, you're always going to have attrition over a term of your life, and as the game gets older, it gets harder and harder to get more people into it. And if that's the case, then every percentage of your population is going to eventually decrease. So there probably are. Oh, I should specify also. The person that sent this in specified when he said hardcore raiders, he meant people pushing like world first, server first, like the people that get on and they take the next 2 weeks off when a new patch comes out and they just grind it out as fast as they can. Um, yeah, the super elite hardcore raiders. And yeah, I think as people grow up, it's harder to take time off to do that kind of thing, and uh, so I think you are going to slowly see people not really be able to do hardcore raiding as much. But having said that, um, hardcore raiders are the people that are going to be here after the rest of us are long gone. They're the people that still play EverQuest. I mean, it's the people that are hardcore raiders and truly hardcore about it, that they want to push server first, they're the ones that are going to stick around with the game the longest, I think. So I think as long as the servers are still up, you're still going to have hardcore raiders. So let's go to the next question, which is there something we can do, or Blizzard can do, to fast forward the new players to where they can at least know what to do and where to go? They've made leveling so easy that a person hits 90 in a couple weeks at most, then it's like, whoa, what the hell is all of this? That is a good question. I think it's kind of hard for me to answer this question just because I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a new player just hitting 90. I've been playing this game for 9 years now since this game has been around. So it's really hard for me to sort of get back into that, fresh to the game mindset. And I can imagine it would be overwhelming because there's PvP to do. You got your heroic scenarios. You're trying to go for your LFR. You got heroic scenarios now, and I can imagine that all that can be daunting for level 90, especially as they add more and more content for things, for people to do if they start getting bored of the game. But you also got Brawlers Guild, you got all the daily quests. Where do you go? How do you get there? And I think what they've done with the Timeless Isle is really, really good. Basically, as soon as you log in, or as soon as you hit 90, you get the quest. You're like, hey, go here. And Timeless Isle catches you up. It makes it so that you don't even have to do all the other stuff. Which I suppose could be good and bad. You can still go do it, so that's not, it's not a terrible thing. But, I think how they're going about this patch is very, very good. Now, in more of a philosophical sense, what can Blizzard do to try and help people along? I think they've instituted a lot of good stuff, kind of like the leaderboard things that they do while you're leveling, so you know where to go, what zones to go to next. I think they could do more stuff like that, and they have, but I've only seen that as a piecemeal process, as it comes out in Mists of Pandaria. I think in Mists of Pandaria, Blizzard has been really, really good about trying to make sure that new level 90 players just aren't totally, blown away. But really, it's hard to say, put something in game that says go to these fan websites or go to our official website to find out more information about what you should do. There's forums, blah, 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 blah. It's really kind of hard to do that in game, and seems sort of like it's sort of self-promotion, or, how do you, if they were to promote fan sites, how do you say, go to Google or go to these certain fan sites, who determines which fan sites make the cut? It's a little kind of hazy. So I don't know that there's a lot more that Blizzard can do, but I think what they've been doing has been pretty good, especially with Timeless Isles. So I don't really have a better answer than that. Let's answer this question. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Do you think the LFR system affected the social aspect of the game negatively? I used to have fun looking for people to do 5 minutes, etc. on my server. Now it's just a press of a button. It does not feel the same anymore. Yes. And the sad thing is, there's a lot of good things about LFR. Like, it's definitely a quality of life increase, but overall, I think it's been a decrease. I said this a little bit uh, in my first episode. I feel like from the community specific aspect, LFR has hurt communities because now you don't need to know anyone. You know, it's no longer an MMO. It's now a queue lobby where you go and do certain things from the queue lobby, and it's it's just an RPG that happens to have a world. It's no longer a world that happens to be an RPG. Um, and I think that has negatively affected the community. Um, Now there are still, things that can be done, things involved in the community, but it's not nearly what it was back in TBC. And doing 5 mans is no longer difficult. You don't really have to know what you're doing, and you can just pretty much steamroll the 5 mans, especially now that you can really just outgear it pretty quickly. So yeah, I do feel like it has negatively impacted the community. Now, what can they do? Really, I think this will be interesting to see what happens with flex rating. I honestly do feel like flex rating is definitely a step in the right direction towards community building again, especially because it can be done cross-server. If you've made friends over the years and you've just ended up on different servers doing different things, now you can all be on the same server. It doesn't matter that you're on different servers. You can do flex rating cross-realm. So I think that's really good. I think that the interesting thing, and the reason why I said it'll be interesting to see what happens with flex rating, is now you have 4 levels of rating again. Like, this just reminds me of Term of the Grand Crusader from Wrath of the Lich King all over again, where people, especially the hardcore raiders, felt like they had to do every single level to try and get every single gear advantage they could to try and kill stuff faster. You got 4 chances at loot, basically, because you could do the 10-man, you could do the 10-man heroic, you could do the 25-man, you could do the 25-man heroic every single week. And whew, that'll wear you out. And a lot of people got burned out, especially because it was so few bosses. It was only 5 bosses. Like, each boss individually was actually, I thought, pretty cool. Like, I thought Beasts was kind of a cool fight to do. I had a lot of fun doing it. Draxus was okay. The PvP fight was a unique experiment. It was kind of cool. I really loved the Twin Valkyr fight, and a Nubarak I thought was really cool. Some really cool mechanics. But when you're doing it 4 times a week, it's just like it. And now, granted, you can't do normal and heroic in the same week, so it's still only 3 times a week. But now you're doing your LFR, you're doing your flex raid, you're doing your normal raid, and you're just doing the same content 3 different ways. And while I think it might help community, I don't think people are going to be doing flex raiding instead of LFR. I think they're going to be doing flex raiding in addition to LFR. And I think it might just cause people to burn out faster, and if people stop playing, then it really damages the community that happens. So, we'll see if that's what actually happens with flex rating, and it'll be interesting. But those are just kind of my thoughts on, the social aspect of LFR and what Blizzard can do to fix it. I definitely don't think Blizzard can take away LFR. I mean, it's like everyone says, oh, well, everyone's just focused on cell phones now. It's really hurt, the little things, the postal service is doing so bad because of email, but you can't just like take away email now. Like, I guess actually that's a really good question. Does it matter that community is being hurt? I would argue that it does, because community is what keeps players around, and when you have a game that's getting as old as WoW, it's hard to get new players. So what you want to do is try and keep players around as long as possible. And if you can do that, then you'll keep your subscriptions up. But, as the Zen Master said, we'll see. Alright, let's go on to our next question, which is, will Blood DKs be going back to avoidance spec? in 5.4. Stupid getting used to cameras. Is avoidance good? The answer is no. Okay, so I probably shouldn't just say straight up no, because obviously avoiding an attack is good. You don't want to get hit. But whenever you stack avoidance, you get harder to heal, even if you technically take less damage, because you end up being spiky, because you're sacrificing stats that smooth your damage intake. And really, I don't know a whole lot about Death Knight specifically, but what people have told me that do know a lot about Death Knights is they say if you're really awful at timing your death strikes, then yeah, you might go avoidance. Otherwise, no, it's still really not that good. Like, basically the repost changes to like warriors and Death Knights and stuff like that. Really, all that did is it made avoidance suck less, and it increases our DPS, but it doesn't make it something you want to stack. Like, yeah, it's still better, but you still don't want to stack avoidance. That's just not something you want to do still. So yeah, the short answer is no. Don't go avoidance. Never go avoidance. I guess if you're like doing if you're only gonna do like 5-man content or like heroic scenarios or something where it just doesn't matter, you're gonna be outgearing it either way, then yeah, sure, what the hell, go avoidance. But or maybe like if you sim it out and you're on a fight that you just need more DPS, and like everyone else is just going balls to the walls and your tank DPS is really low for some reason, then again maybe, but it's still just not worth it. It's not that great. So, next question. What can I do to increase my DPS as a Prot Warrior? From Tech Vano. So, this was a much longer question. He was basically comparing himself to his Prot Pally tank partner in his guild, and he was saying, you know, the Prot Paladin is just so much more damage than me. Like, what can I do to increase my damage? And what I would honestly say is stop caring about it. Now 5.4 will help that a little bit. You're going to do a little bit more damage. I did the first 2 normal mode fights tonight, and on... I have to look at the World of Logs report again. I know on the second fight, I beat our DK that's like 30 out of the levels above me, and basically I'm just making sure that I'm hitting whatever was that ultimatum procs or whatever that gives you the free critical heroic strike. Just making sure that I'm always hitting that. But for the most part, just making sure that you're keeping your rotation clean and hitting all your heroic strikes that you can that are procced by ultimatum. Never waste rage on a heroic strike, but if you have a free heroic strike, then go for it. But for the most part, I really, and maybe I'm just too much of a purist, but I just hate the idea that tanks should be ragged on for not doing enough DPS. Look, are you easy to heal? Are you not dying on fights? That's the important part for a tank. Don't, unless you're like wiping at 1% and you need to edge out some more DPS somehow, I just wouldn't care about it. There might be some talent changes that you can do. I don't know what you're using for your bottom tier talent. I use Bloodbath. I don't know, you might be able to make some arguments for Avatar, but I think Bloodbath is the best DPS that you can get, so might as well use Bloodbath. Then something you might be able to do is bind Bloodbath to like Shield Slam or something, just to make sure that you're always hitting Bloodbath, you know, on cooldown and keeping it up. It's kind of a lazy way to do it. It's what I do just because I hate micromanaging those cooldowns because I always miss them. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If they're bitching about your DPS being low, just be like, look, do you like the fact that I'm easy to heal? You know, I'm doing my job. What do you want? What do you want from me? So yeah, I would argue that the 10-man, it's a little different just because tanks are now becoming a significant part of the DPS. But check your DPS again in 5.4. If you're still not happy with it, stop by the forums and or stop by the shout box, and maybe we'll talk about it some more and figure out what to do. Maybe you can ask our current Prot Warrior author Tangenstein or Arrowwind. I think he does the DPS spreadsheet. I guess that's something you could do. Arrowwind typically keeps his Prot Warrior DPS spreadsheet up, and you can go look at that and see, sort of how you can massage things to do more damage if you really want to. But maybe it's just because I'm way under geared right now, but stuff was hitting kind of hard in Siege of Orgrimmar, so survive first, worry about DPS after you're surviving fights a lot. And on to the last question. I feel like I'm doing this pretty fast tonight, but do you ever stream your gameplay on Twitch? From MGA6977. No, I have never streamed my gameplay. However, I'm probably going to start doing it, especially with the TankSpot Flex Donor raid. So that's 8 p.m. Central Time. You can catch me at Twitch TV/Aggathon. And if I do any raiding with guilds or whatever, I may stream that too. So you can just check my stream. Maybe I'll post on Twitter whenever I start streaming, so you could follow me on Twitter. And I guess that comes to that part of the show. Feels like I haven't really been talking that long, but felt my answers were still pretty good. So yeah, it's that part of the show where I say, if you want to reach me, you can ask me a question on Twitter at Aggathon. Put the hashtag AskAg on there, or you can go to tankspot.com, make a username, and send a private message to the name Aggathon. And yeah, those are the two ways right now that you can send me questions. Follow me on Twitter. I may start doing some more stuff on Twitter other than just like self-promoting the show. I may just start posting cool stuff, maybe even stuff that's not even WoW related. I'm a really huge space geek, if you can't tell by this XKCD like space poster here. If you haven't been to xkcd.com, also, just a hilarious website. I suggest you go. But anyways, shoot me some more questions. I've been getting some great questions in so far. And I will see you all next week. Hopefully the episode will be on time. I'm going to try to get them out on Tuesdays. So this one's going to be Thursday because I was sick. So hopefully Tuesday or early Wednesday will be the next episode of Aggathon's Rage Bar. Have a good week, guys. Have fun with Siege of Orgrimmar.